software developer and also a writer. Thank you.
My name is Musa. I'm a realtor in and around Brampton.
Okay, and hi, I'm Tosin Banks. I'm your host for today. You're welcome again to the Balcony Talk. So we're looking at it from different angles, from the church, from outside the church, because we know in the church we have many single women, outside the church we have many single women. So we're looking at it from both angles today.
Today?
Yes.
Okay, women wait on men to ask them out. Women wait on men to propose. Women wait on men to make the first move. And we have a culture now where men are not really interested in doing those things anymore. I'll give you a scenario where you have a girlfriend, she lives with you, she do everything for you, she do your laundry, she cook for you, she does everything. You ask yourself, do I still to get married? So there's no need to do that. We already living the married life already. So there are those single women that, be it in a long distance or same relation, whatever status they call themselves, this generation of men are not really interested in that. And it could be a commitment issue, it could be a financial issue, it could be a mental issue or a state of mind. And we have a generation of men who don't really value marriage. They see it as a status thing. And whereas I can have everything I want from a marriage, from a woman coming to my house or live with me, so why should I still get married? So whereas it could be one of those things why we have so many single women who are not married today.
Okay, Musa, what is your take on that?
For me personally, I believe marriage has become a choice. I think before it was a societal norm. It was a societal norm. You expected to get married certain time and whatnot, but now I feel that it's a choice. Be it financial reasons, as you stated, being for maturity reasons, for you being able to accommodate a certain person, committed to that person for the longest of times. So it could be a lot of things that could factor in. But for me, I sincerely believe that at this moment in time, we are at a point in the 2000s, if I can put it that way, whereby marriage, even the law considers that if you stay with someone, after 6 months, they take you guys as already married. Like a couple. You can't kick your girlfriend out if she's been staying with you more than so many months, like 6 months and so forth. So it's become a little bit easier to get attached to a person without really having to marry. So with all of these factors and everything that's happening during the 2000 era going upwards, for me, I sincerely believe that marriage has become an achievement. To be able to find someone to share that sees you the same way that you see them, to be able to find someone that will love you unconditionally, same way vice versa, to be able to find a person that goes through with you thick and thin and understands you to a certain point whereby your parents can't even recognize you as well. For me, that's a huge achievement. But at this moment in time, in terms of finances, maturity issues and so forth, from both parties, because also women nowadays, they're seeing that men are lacking in terms of character, so they are not really keen. They're not really keen, that they rather just wait. Some, because it's so nice having so many multiple people to experiment from, it's become a thing of, I'm here for the nice time, not a long time. So there's a lot of influences that come into play, especially financially, for the men, which I think played a huge issue, that if I have to marry, I have to have a certain amount of ivulamlomo, dowry, then white wedding, traditional wedding, honeymoon, and most of the time all of that is looked at from a man's perspective. The woman or the woman's family is not looking to say that, we can come in for the honeymoon, we don't need, so everything is looked at from a man's perspective. So I think that took the men mostly out of the equation, but also women, goes both ways. The realizations that we've had as men, the pressures and so forth, women also saw that men are lacking, men are this, men are that, it's okay. I think I'm good alone.
Okay, Kunle, you say marriage is a status thing, and he says that is an achievement. What do you have to say to that?
I mean, it varies from everyone's school of thought
So why do you believe it's a status thing, not an achievement?
I mean, I'm looking at this era of ours, and where people get married just to show up to people, to show to people that I made it. Like, I think it's something that some people would even settle down with someone that they know fully well that they're not compatible with that person. But this looks good. Like a trophy wife, a trophy husband. Yeah, he's a sportsman, he's a rich man, he's got a career, I've got a beautiful beauty pageant. I know people be in those things just to, they know they're not compatible, they know they scream.
They just want to have that good status
out there.
So to you, coming back to you, what do you think? Do you think marriage is supposed to be an achievement, or is it supposed to be status? Where do we place it?
I think it could go back to early days, early phases of girl and boy in terms of teenage years, on how we actually engage with each other. Because for the most part, many people marry for many reasons. I've heard about people marry a guy from internationally marries a lady nationally just for the guy to be able to obtain citizenship, and all of those type of things. They still live together, they have kids together, but it's not really that type of love type of thing, because that lady will not up and leave and visit the guy's family. So they're always here. So it's different type of things, but for me, the one that I'm actually looking at is where you can actually find someone that you can share your life with. Because for many people, they marry for money. We marry for security reasons, because he can provide better than the next person. Most even marry for in terms of legacy. I've been with a man 4 years. This guy's never talked about anything about kids. I want kids. I don't care who comes in. I want kids. As long as they are kind of able and they can give me kids, then I'll be able to go with that person. So for me, with all of these factors coming in and the people not willing to date for the goal to be marriage, to be in love with this person and spend the next 10, 15, 20, 25 to 50 years married together. For me, that's an achievement when you actually find that, because it's so rare, especially in this new millennia. We don't have that. We've lost it. So to be able to find something that is so nice, that you're looking forward to your life unfolding in the future with a specific someone committed. For me, that's an achievement.
Okay, let me come in with this other question. Presently, people in relationship, because obviously you have a relationship before you get married, right? So presently, people in relationship often have sex in relationship, and it's becoming more like a norm in the society. And we know that the church preaches against that. Even our culture, our tradition preaches against that. So why do we, or why are the young people, why are they so comfortable having sex in relationship? Why? What brings us to that platform today?
I think there's quite a lot of factors that could be encouraging people of our time to be engaging in sex before marriage. And first of all, abstaining is a very difficult thing to do, and human physiology is not even wired to do that at all. We're not wired not to have sex. We're wired to have sex. So now there's a religion, that says we shouldn't, and they're like, no, we're not going to listen to that. We're going to listen to our body. Our body wants it, and I think we have a generation where people can actually make decisions for themselves, irrespective of there's a parent or there's a rule or there's a religion or there's a society bearing up on them. So this is a generation who will do whatever they want if they want to do it. So that is what we see now. I think it's a thing of you having that self-consciousness and having that self-power, self-pride to say, I'm going to do it anyway, whether religion allows me or my tradition allows me. My body wants it, and I'm going to do it. And I think that's the generation of people that we have now. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you have to say to that?
For me, I sincerely believe that sex was a taboo topic at a certain time. Then, since it was a taboo topic at a certain time, it was not really explored in regards with how nice it could be, but what consequences also it could bring. So as time went by and we kept sheltering that topic, things happened. Kids started experimenting. Then after experimenting, things didn't happen. Some didn't get pregnant, others got pregnant. Others liked it, others didn't like it. Now you have sugar daddies approaching younger kids and so forth, and you have older women approaching younger men in regards of that. So for me, everyone has lost a certain bearing in regards with what are we supposed to even have sex, because as he says, I don't want to say it's a body type of thing. I think it's maybe lack of education through the upbringing, that you know better and you're able to conduct yourself a little bit better. If I can randomly say, parents will ask you now, they will tell you, virgin. Then when you're around about 22, 23, they're already asking you without no sex education, without anything else, when am I getting my grandkids? So how do they expect you to evolve or flip from you being shy about sex and from you to being now a mother and so forth?
So in other words, children or teenagers already, they are in relationship before parents comes in to tell them about sex, or they don't at all tell them about sex.
Most for me, the growing up, the topic of sex, I don't think I've ever had. The topic of sex I've had was that if you ever get a girl pregnant, you will stay wherever with that girl, and you will stop studying and whatnot. You will take care of that family. That's the only education I ever had. So there was not really someone sitting down and telling me about the basics. This is how it happens, this is how you can feel, this is the anxiety, this is what can result with you not using a condom and so forth. I never had that. It was just, if you get someone pregnant, this is whatnot and whatnot. And I'm like 11 years old. And then at a certain time I have to mature about that topic. So it was, yeah.
So what do you have to say with the parent and coming in to give advice and mentoring on that?
I think from my experience, I mean, I went to a boys' only high school, and I never got that sex education from my parents as well. And I mean, I turned out well. And the point is, maybe not everyone would have turned out well, but the point is, you have a generation, and this is coming from my line of work, and I would not disclose personal data, but I've had to do research, extract data to find out 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, they're sharing nudes among themselves. As young as that, they're not even 13 yet. It's bizarre, it's crazy, and I found it very shocking, and we kept asking ourselves,
nude pictures.
Yes, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old. I'm not even going to go to 13. And this is as young as they can be. And you begin to ask yourself as a parent, I could have spoken about sex to a 10-year-old. You know what I mean? You're thinking, okay, let him be 16, let him be 17, 15, 10-year-old, 10. And that's what's happening now. I've got data to show you. This is things I've worked on. And I was shocked. I'm like, what is this? You begin to ask yourself, and I wouldn't want to agree on putting all the blame on parents, because there's so much parents can do. Your parent can talk to you about sexual relation in your teenage age. You go to varsity, you do the opposite. You've got to own it up. You've got to be responsible. You've got to be able to say, this is me. It's you reinvent yourself. And that is, when we are in a society, yeah, peer pressure is constant. Whatever age group, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, whatever. Peer pressure is always going to be there. Even when you're married, it's still going to be there. So we wouldn't want to blame that. By the end of the day, every man, every woman must take responsibility for it. I will tell you, you didn't agree with me, I wouldn't have to agree. Your body wants it. It's a desire. You have an erection. You feel the urge to be with a woman. The woman feels the urge to be with a man. It happens to you. And you're like, and that emotion, that feeling overpowers you. You don't know when you already did the deed. And that's, so we all have different level of self-control and all that. So I'm just saying that, sometimes it's even unplanned. You don't know, just overwhelming. You said the right things to someone said the right things to you, one thing to another, it happens. And I'm not saying people should be loose out there, but there's an extent to abstinence can take you. And you ask yourself, if I abstain, what do I have to gain? What do I really have to gain? You can't quantify it. You really can't. And it is vague. It is not something you can hold. And who's going to find out that I did? So there's a lot of things people ask themselves, and they do it anyway. You're going to know. So, and I've been open, and that is what I've been able to discover, that religion doesn't want it. Put religion aside. Tradition doesn't want it. Put it aside. Where's my parent? They're at home. I'm here. It's my life. Life is too short. They have YOLO. What if I die tomorrow? I want to do it. I want to know what it's like. And that is the thing young people put forward. And they do it anyway. And that's why I said it is sometimes do it for peer pressure. Yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, you've got to, my friends are doing it. I should do it too. Your friends, you haven't done it. Like we have a culture in South Africa where men have to go to the mountain for circumcision. They believe when they come down from circumcision, I've got to do it now. I'm a man. Who's the next woman? Who are you going to try? Get to school, all of that. That's what the mentality that they have. Once I'm a man, circumcised, I've got to find a woman, I've got to try. It's sometimes rape, if they have to. But I'm a man, I want it, give it to me. If you don't give it to me, I take it. So it's that cultural thing that we need to speak about. There's a lot of factors, as I said. And when it comes to sex before marriage, religion doesn't have a hold on this generation anymore. They don't really care. And tradition doesn't hold on this generation anymore. It doesn't really matter. That's what I'll say.
Are we not saying that in this day and age we cannot have a relationship without sex? Is that what we are saying? Musa?
That would be really hard. I think it depends on the principles of a certain person, of that particular person, even the situation that you are in. I wouldn't say most, but there are some instances whereby a guy would say that I want to court you. I want to experience dating this and this and this before we can actually do this and that and that. And for some other people, it works a lot different. As soon as they immediately see each other and whatnot, clapping, whatever, they do it immediately there. So for me, I'd say that the education part is the most important part here, because I sincerely believe that even as young as 10 years old, there was an article I came across a few years ago, a 10-year-old raped a 7-year-old. So So in that situation, for me, the most important thing was the education behind that. This is what happens and so forth. And besides the education, because we can argue a lot about education, is it me being in school as a teacher teaching this, or is it me being a parent doing this and this? There's a lot that can be done in terms of education, but I sincerely believe that if you are a father and you have daughters, it's up to you as a father to be the leading example of how a man should treat you when he's coming into his life. So as a father, you need to be your Superman for your daughter, and as a mother, you need to stand up and say that my sons, I need for them to, I need to take them out, sit with them in a in a public area, have fun with them, show them how a woman is supposed to be treated, show them how you're supposed to be handled a certain way. I think the rest probably takes care of itself, because there's education system, they're also trying. I won't say that I can't see what they're doing and so forth, because many people try in different ways that they can. So, but I sincerely believe that the education part is the most important, because when you're like old enough, I believe that at least now you have that ability to think for yourself. So I think it depends on the education, that the type of education you give to your son and daughter, and also how the environment also impacts and instills that type of education and certain beliefs that you also abide by.
So you believe the main thing is from home. Home is where you need to be taught. From home, from school, from church, from anywhere you go, where you can be taught.
Yeah, but it's very different how you teach it from home. You can't teach sex education with a belt. You can't teach sex education with a belt. You can't teach sex education like you're speaking to a kid, like you're speaking to a young kid. That's why he can say that you're looking at a 10-year-old. How can 10-year-olds do this? Because I was thinking when he's 16, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna talk to him like that. But that's the thing. When you're talking to a kid, even when he's like 4 or 5 years old, you're thinking for him. But at that same time, you should be treating him as a person that can make decisions on his own. Because once you're not there, everything, they're seeing it for the first time. My family, my mother allowed me to watch Uyizo as a kid. Not to say that I want you to do what they are doing, but she was like, I want you to see it whilst you're in a home household, so that it shocks you and we have a discussion. Yeah. So when you see it outside already, it's a second interpretation, and then now you already had that conversation at home about this is what I'm going to do. We checked every angle, how nice it is, and so forth and so forth. We had that discussion as a family. As a result, I never did the other stuff that the kids were doing. I could do it. I ran with almost the same crews, but at the same time, for me, what I had learned, I knew that my backbone, not disappointing the mother because the mother was not there and so forth, but my backbone, I knew that I am not this type of person.
Okay. So what is your take on the fact that there are some women who are well-to-do in the society, and then men find it hard to approach them, hence they are single? And because the culture in Africa is the women are not supposed to be the one to approach a man. So because of the status of that woman or that lady, a guy who's not up to her status is afraid to approach her. Could that also be the reason for singleness?
Not necessarily. Yeah. I think if a man is afraid to approach a woman because it thinks she's of a different status, then it's up to him, because it's got a self-esteem issue which needs to be dealt with in a different class entirely. And I think there's a new narrative that we haven't spoken about today, and women are making the move as well. And we have a new era of women. This is the time that they use. They took it out. They're shooting their shots. If I die, I die. They're doing that now. They're making that move. But like a man, I go to him, hey. You know, they give them the signs, and they're like, I know that they listen to me, and they make the move. So this is a different thing. Women are not waiting for it anymore. They like a man, they go for the man. The man likes the woman, they go for it. But as for a man, it happens where you find a man who feels inadequate, or he feels like I'm not in the same level with this woman, and less of a man. Yeah, this is a problem. This is lost because they find some women to be unapproachable. Yeah, sure, they will find people like that, and you would need to. You may not necessarily blame the woman for that, because it's the man. It's a yes or no. If you talk to a lady, I like you, I like to take you out, I like to see you again, whatever lines you have. If a woman doesn't, if you feel like you're not up to the task, it's okay. Another man with confidence will approach her. I don't feel like women shouldn't have this thing of a man must approach me. If a woman likes a man, go to the man. The society say men must do the whole conversation. Sometimes we're too busy to make money, We don't have time to go after a woman. So women must make a move. Yeah.
So you believe women must make a move as well?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because as a man, the thing is, besides women in general being able to make a move, as human beings, there's a different type of way that we show love, that we show affection. As you said, that a woman could be giving signs and so forth, but the guy is not picking them up. And he's not picking them up because his way of loving a person, it's not through gift giving, it's through affection, being here, showing that I care, and so forth and so forth. So that could also probably play into as a factor in terms of communication, understanding the other person. But I sincerely believe that women should be able to do that, because as a man now I'm being tasked for so much to do. I have to be the man, I have to be independent, take care of this and so forth and so forth. And I still have to sense in some way that you want me. Yeah, but so for me, it's too much. Because at the same time, you could be a very decent guy, that you are nice to everyone, and you being nice, and people flirting back. They are not being nice, they're just flirting back. You pick it up as being polite. So now you're not really seeing these women or this other person that is showing themselves in terms of being flirtatious with you, because you're so decent that you take everyone being nice as that you take flirtation as just being nice. So there are things that can get lost within your transmission of me, I like this person and so forth. So I think women should be boldly, if you're gonna ask for 50%, 50% of what men are getting, like you want gender equality, I sincerely believe a woman should be able to do that. It shouldn't be a guy's thing. If we're in this age, feminism is an issue and so forth, like it's a growing topic, it's really there to understand women's empowerment. So I think that, yeah, if you're empowered in that manner, you should be able to talk to any individual, any human being, and tell them how you feel and what you think. And then, yeah.
Okay, so what is your take on the fact that tradition, our tradition, does not encourage that? So now, then the tradition part of it, in Africa, we believe that it's the man that needs to approach you. So women tend to keep quiet, even if they love a man, they keep quiet because it's a traditional thing for the man to come forward. So what is your take on that?
I think like I will beat on the religion aspect, and I will be honest if we say, like, you know, understanding all the scriptures is very important, and one of the reasons why the scriptures get distorted all often is because it is permissible in Christianity that one passage could mean a different message to you, a different message to him, a different message to me. Am I correct? And that is the reason why we've given room for distortion in the understanding of the scripture. It is said, he will find it a wife, find it to be a good thing, and obtain favor from the Lord. But there was nothing that says a man must do the talking. It ends there, if I'm correct. So, but now in the Christian, they have made it like it's a man's job. That is distortion right there. Lack of understanding, lack of comprehension. Now in society, a man must come to the family of the bride to say, these are my intentions, I want. They could have met each other, doing their lovey-dovey in the corner. And it says, well, the lady could have said, yeah, I like you. Oh, you like me? I want you to be my husband. Okay, good. Wow, you have to go to my dad. I could tell them. I could show you up. And the man says, okay, cool. And they have to push him. Hey, go there. And he talks to the father. I'm the man. I want to take your daughter. Blah blah blah. You know, he needs to declare his intention because he's gonna take her to go live with her. But there hasn't really been that manual to say man must do the talking. These are how assumptions are made fact. Assumptions are made tradition. Assumptions are made. This is how you should do it. That is your view. You know, that's how you should do it. They make it that way. Anybody gather here, and they made it a tradition. In my opinion, I think it is. We should look at how we feel. If you meet someone and you feel like this person is not taking a hint, I'm gonna sit them down like, hey, what's wrong with you? What's wrong? Come on. You can't take a hint. Yeah.
Okay, we're just getting your views,
Yeah.
so it's your opinion.
Yes,
and
our
it's your
opinion,
views, so
definitely.
that's cool. So now we had a discussion with ladies last week, and some of the things that developed during the discussion was that one of the reasons why not the basic reasons,
Yeah.
but one of the reasons why women are not married yet is because of understanding on both sides, lack of understanding on both sides. Because when you are in a relationship, a woman might say, I don't want sex before marriage, but the guy says, I want sex. So based on that, the woman refusing to have sex, the man leaves the woman. So, in your own take, what would you say to that? Is that a right reason for you to leave a woman because she says, I want to uphold what the word of God says. I want to uphold what my culture demands from me. I don't want to have sex before marriage. So now, because she says she doesn't want to have sex before marriage, a man says, okay, if you can't do that, then this relationship is over.
Obviously, that relationship wasn't between two Christians, if I'm correct. Because as a Christian, you've got to follow what the word says.
According to what I heard last week,
Yeah.
even Christian brothers do that.
So that's the thing, you see. So the point is, if you are a Christian and you're not willing to act like a Christian, then you're not a Christian. So the thing about Christian is being misunderstood. So I'm going to give you an instance. In Abu Dhabi, they have a rule: Muslim drink. You need a license to drink, and it's not even extended to Muslims. If you're a Muslim, you cannot drink. It is a law. So it's either you're a Christian or you're not. So I believe that person who says, I'm a Christian, I don't even want to go deeper to born again Christian. If you are a Christian, you should not have sex before marriage. It's not debatable. You should not even negotiate it. It is not, because that when you say I'm a Christian, so now I'm a Christian, I go to church. It's a nice thing to say, so people to look at you in a good way. So it's not good, because if you are a Christian, you should not have sex before marriage. Finish and cry. So if a woman is with a man who says a Christian and you say I want sex now, dump him. There's no future there.
Now,
There's no future
what
there.
about the idea that now we see fellow Christians
Yeah.
who are having sex
Yeah.
and they eventually get married?
Yeah.
You see, we see fellow Christians.
Yeah.
We see them. We know that
Yeah.
they are doing this,
Yeah.
and then they eventually got married.
Yeah.
And I refuse, and because I'm refusing, I'm now still single. Now that is more like what you're saying, peer pressure. Now most want to be pressured to do what others are now doing. So what can you say to that?
That's a very, I like the dynamics, the dynamism in this conversation right now, because when you are in the church and you have people, I've once led a group at some point in my life, and in that group we had two people in the group, a Christian group, who were seeing each other, and I heard that they were sleepovers. I called them out and I asked them, hey, you doing sleeping with each other? They say yes. Okay, but you let people know, we don't want gossip. And because of my understanding, I didn't chase them out of the group. They had wanted me to kick them out of the group, but I let them in the group. But I tell you, that relationship didn't last before even finished varsity. But they cut long story short, the relationships like that definitely don't go anywhere. So, and people in the church, if you have people who are doing this and that, yes, people are going to say we're judging them, we're calling them. I judge people. Bible says don't judge. I judge you for a living. I write about you, what I see, what I know, I find out. But the point here is that if we have people in the church who are engaging in fornication, we know this is against what we stand for. This is against what the Bible. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Are we? Is this a game? Are we just doing a circus here? So I believe they need to be called out. They need to be addressed. They need to come in and find a godly way to address the situation. Obviously, it's a shameful act. And how to deal with that, you need to be extremely careful because it doesn't usually go down well. But it should not be encouraged. It should, because now they'll be made an example. Oh, but these people did it. The church didn't say anything. The pastor didn't say anything. Now I'm doing it now. Why is my case different? Then before you know it, it becomes a norm. Oh, choir people, usher people, they're hanging out, they're doing whatever they do. But and it affects the whole thing. You ask yourself, then why are we here? And it's a stain. It's an impure act to do in the presence of God, you know. And I think it shouldn't be encouraged. It should be grossly be frowned upon and not be encouraged, in my opinion. And if you want to be a Christian, that's it. If you want to be a Christian, you've got to be a Christian, because being a Christian is not just going to church. You've got to abide by the laws of the Bible or the book. That's it.
What do you have to say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. For me, I think it depends on the situation where you're at. Exactly what you just said. If you're in a Christian environment, absolutely, then you should be fully Christian and so forth. In terms of outside church, it's a norm. It's a norm. There's a lot of factors that could come into it. A lot of factors. I wouldn't like to dwell on most of them. It will take too much time. But I sincerely believe that if a person knows that you're a certain type of person, then they will find it best for you to meet them halfway. If I know that I'm approaching someone that is not a Christian, but still they are not sexually active, I need to understand that person. And when I'm approaching that person and we are having this discussion, I need to be very upfront about what I want, and she needs to be upfront about what she wants and what she can do, so that I can meet her halfway. I think it's very selfish to approach someone knowing how they are, knowing what type of crew they run with, knowing what type of environment that they're with, that they're in around, and then expecting them to do what you want. And then when they don't agree, or maybe you lie to them in the short term and then in the long term it becomes a huge issue, then you get so shocked, or you've wasted someone's time doing random stuff that that will not go on in the long term. So I sincerely believe that it depends on those type of people, those type of conversations, because you can't frown. For example, I'm not the judging type. I'm really not the judging type. For the people that would have sex in that certain type of church and then end up marrying long lasting, they could eventually come to you and say that, yeah, we made it work, so what do you have to what can you say about it? And you can't say anything because they are that one exception.
So in other words, from what you said and from what Kunle says, we are to come to a point that if you are a Christian, you are not supposed to have a relationship with who is not a Christian, because you don't have the same values. A Christian must uphold the values, which is sex after we are married. But an unbeliever or a non-Christian, would want sex whilst in the relationship. So if you are both in that relationship together, then there will be a clash of interest.
Yes. Most of the time it will, including peer pressure. That's why peer pressure could play a huge part in there. Because what's stopping, if for example it's me, what's stopping my friends from going to her and speaking with her and be like, I heard don't be giving my boy a hard time. No man, don't be like this and so forth. That's another type of peer pressure. But I would say if you dating someone or you doing something with someone, the topic of sex will always come in. Either you're a Christian, you're not, and whatnot, it will always come in, and it's a topic that needs to be addressed depending on the comfortability of where you are able to interact or be intimate. if you're in a Christian environment, everyone needs to understand, and everyone can't be shocked when I say that no, sex after marriage is a thing for me. Even if you're coming from the outside or anywhere else, you can't be shocked. Yeah, but because you came in knowing that I am this type of person. Yeah, but so I think for me it's very important to understand where you are at and understand where your people are. Like in terms of, this is the type of man I want, and with this type of man I want, it falls under the Christian category. If this is this type of man I want, he falls into the cultural norm. So I want a cultured man that is going to treat me like this because me, I am this type of woman. Yeah. So I think it goes down to understanding what you want, and also with the other person coming in and saying that I want the same thing, or maybe we don't want the same things. We are uncommon. We are like, you're a church and you're what? But I understand that sex after marriage, and for you, you also need to understand that I do a certain thing like this and this and this. Is it gonna affect you? Because it can't only be the sex. So it's a matter of understanding, coming in and saying that this is my halfway, this is whatever. You, that's your halfway, this is whatever. Coming in together, can we make this work? If not, it's okay.
I just wanted to add a point to that, is because according to my views, we all share different values and principles. And if you value marriage, non-Christians value marriage differently. Christians value marriage differently. And also there's those other people. Now you need to now look at how do we draw the line between everyone's moral compass. Obviously is different. Some people don't find sex before marriage as anything bad. Christians find it to be a very bad thing. So that's where we need to now. And mind you, I wouldn't want to agree that sex before marriage makes a marriage work, or sex after marriage doesn't make it work either. So at the end of the day, in most relationships, communication is key, because most of the time women expect men to figure it out. Are you okay? I'm fine. But they know they're not fine. Women find it very hard. They want us to figure it out. Are you alright? Okay, maybe, yes, no, we don't know. So it's something that communication needs to happen. When you're dating someone, you've got to ask them, what is this? What are we doing? Why do you want me? Why are you calling me? What do you want from me? Ask those hard questions. And when you start dating, a man says, I'll pick you up at 5. He only calls you at 8. A man only calls you on the weekend. He doesn't call you during the week. You need to ask yourself, what am I to you? So those are questions. Women can see all the signs. What is this? What is this? What is that? So I'm just putting out there, because people just assume, they just want to believe their own truth. But no, at the end of the day, you're going to pay with an unfathered child at the end of the day, because you refuse to ask the right questions. Then you're going to blame Bible, you're going to blame religion, you're going to blame men. So at the end of the day, I take it upon men, I take it upon women. If anybody is going to go into a relationship, however it is, you need to communicate. You need to define this. All I want to tell people is live your life responsibly. That's it.
Okay. What delays men from popping the question? They're in a relationship with this lady. It's been 5 years. It's been 6 years. And then you're still on in the relationship, but then to just say, okay, let's get it on, let's get married. What brings about that delay? What is the factor that brings men to hold on?
At first, there shouldn't have been any delay at all. But because society, books, movies, life in general has actually made us understand that every relationship must hand in a happy ending. That is what they made us to understand. Like if you're with someone, it's going to be a marriage. And women are raised, most women or some women are raised to idolize marriage. You've got to find a man. It doesn't matter if you go to school, no matter your education, the ultimate goal is marriage. And when you might have been a PhD holder, you might be earning good money. When a man is not in your life, you're incomplete. And that is wrong. And people make it to be like you're a failure if a man hasn't found you yet, you're not good enough, and all of those things. But men are raised differently. Most men just want to have a good time and they just want to enjoy their life. And hence why you've seen it all in our society today. Men are really very, very scared of commitment. Men are. We're not the type we want to commit. So that's marriage thing is a topic that we don't want to talk about. But at the end of the day, it's a thing of you finding that special person. It takes us a long time. Like women it's easy for women to fall in love. But it takes forever for men too. So when a man really falls in love with someone, he will definitely put a ring on it. So, but my conclusion would be the reason why men are not popping in question commitment issues. You have to find the right person. You can date someone. That doesn't mean they're right for you. And
then why are you with the person if you feel the person is not right for you? Because now you're delaying her, now you're tying her down, and then you know she's not right for you, but you're tying her down.
It is because men don't believe marriage is the ultimate goal. Women does. So marriage is the ultimate goal for most women, or for some women. But for men, it isn't. It isn't.
If I can answer that question, if maybe I'm dating someone, then I tell this person that, you know what, 3 years now, we've been dating for like 2.5 years, and I tell her that, you know what, like the relationship is in a really, really nice space, and I tell this person about, you know what, I don't think I'm ready, like I don't see myself settling and so forth, like marriage and whatnot. So I'm dumping you, I don't want to waste your time. I tell you now, that woman would be so pissed at me. She'd even bad mouth and so forth. So most people would rather just let the relationship run its course and so forth. That's why so many people now are most comfortable with going with the flow. Just going with the flow, check your vibe.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, let's see how it goes and so forth. Because now they are taking the expectation out of the relationship, that this relationship should be this, at this certain time it should be that, it should be this, it should be that. So for me, I don't like going with the flow, because I could be treating you like a special person in my life because of how you treat me, but at the same time to you, I definitely mean nothing. So I don't like going with the flow because of that. But in terms of going with the flow, it kind of eliminates those expectations that I have to do this, and for you, I have to do that for you. Now, when you're going with the flow, if I feel a certain vibe, I feel that you deserve to be treated this way. That's how I treat you. That's how I take the relationship and so forth. So most of the time, I think we're so comfortable with going with the vibe now, because now we're eliminating this thing of expectations. I'm eliminating this thing of, you know what, promising you marriage, and then at the same time when I fall short after a few years and whatnot, then it's a huge thing. One other thing, it could be finances. I want to marry you so bad, but at the same time, when you speak about the dowry in terms of your family and so forth, your family is asking for 70,000. I can only afford 20,000. Now, does that mean that I have to give up the 5 years that I've been with you just because I can't afford the dowry that your family is asking for? So now that's another thing that's coming into play. I've went with the flow I've told everyone I want to marry you. Now I literally can't marry you because of that. Yeah, well, okay, maybe I'm dating you and whatnot. There are guys that would promise. I've been told never to promise a lady marriage. By my uncles, I've been told never to promise, because once it so happens that during the relationship, you guys found out each other that, no, this guy's not good for me and this girl's not good for me, you guys decide to part. But because you promised the marriage, she will always come back to you and say that, no, you know what, I think with Musa, there's something that we didn't do. I can still see us there and whatnot. So now there's a lady that's always checking up on me every time that I move on, because she hasn't found someone that's treating them the same way and that's promised them marriage. That's the thing. So it could be many things. It could be many things, but for me, I sincerely believe pressure. To come in. Yeah.
All right. So I think we will end here today. So thank you so much for your time, and I believe that we have heard so much coming from the church angle, outside the church and all that. and we have not concluded anything as yet. This is just opinions, okay? Your opinion, your thought, and the next edition, we're going to conclude it. So we're going to bring in pastors, we're going to bring in church members, we're going to bring in people who are out there. So we now have a conclusive discussion. Kunle, what is your advice to the youth out there? What do you have to say to all the youth out there?
Well, all I can say is that I mean, everyone should out there, whatever you do it well and live responsibly, and that's all I have to say to that. Yeah, pursue your dream, and you've got one life to live. That doesn't mean you must just do whatever you want, but do live it responsibly. Yeah.
All right, Musa.
For me, the best thing would be find passion. To find passion and then follow that passion as aggressively and as obsessively as you can. That could be many things. If it's 3 things, it could be family, business, as well as God. For me, it's passion. I love passion in everything that I do. And then, you follow it, you can never go wrong.
Thank you so much for watching. The Lord bless you, and thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please, if you like the video, if you love it, please like it, and please share with your families and friends, and please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed already. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.